Hello, today I'm reviewing and ranking 5 tinted moisturizers plus a bonus that are perfect for summer lightweight coverage. See if you can guess as you're watching this video which one ranked number 1. I'm wearing it today. I'm ranking 3 new launches, 1 drugstore find that I've been wanting to review for a long time, and 1 product that was completely off my radar that I found when doing research for this video. What makes this video even extra special is it's a collaboration with my friend Tamara at Tamara's Timeless Beauty. I know most of you know her and love her as much as I do, but if you're not familiar with her, she is a mature beauty content creator here that creates beauty and lifestyle videos that you will absolutely adore. I'm going to pin her video down below after you're done watching my video. Check the description or my comments and run over and watch her video. We're going to bring you a total of 10 tinted moisturizer reviews. I know you're going to find one that you're going to absolutely love for the summer. Tinted moisturizers are that lighter formula that we tend to reach for during the warmer summer months. I'm going to rank all of them plus the bonus on the same 5 criteria on how a tinted moisturizer should perform: texture, hydration, coverage, finish, and wear. The texture of a tinted moisturizer should be very lightweight, almost to weightless. The hydration, it's a tinted moisturizer. It should be very hydrating. As far as coverage, you should see some skin peeking through, a fairly light coverage. The finish on a tinted moisturizer should give you a fresh, dewy look, but not be overly glowy, and it should even your skin tone. The final criteria is wear. We're not expecting these tinted moisturizers to last 8 hours, so I gave it a window of about 6, which is what I usually found last year when I did this review. A tinted moisturizer, at least a good one, will last at least about 6 hours. Each of the criteria gets 5 points for a total of 25 possible points. I'm reviewing these in a random order. I'll tally up the points and then I'll share with you which ranked best to worst, including the bonus. Fenty Skin Hydra Vizor Tinted Moisturizer is a new launch, and you might notice right away that the packaging looks a little strange. The case that goes over this refillable cartridge is sold separately, but you don't have to buy it. It's about $6 extra. But I think it's really cool that they give you the option that you don't have to buy the plastic case if you don't need it. I don't have any intention of carrying this around in my purse, and I don't really mind the way it looks on the countertop. So it's in my caddy over here of my makeup. So I think it's really cool that they give you an option with less plastic. This has a 4.4 star rating on Sephora, with 92% recommending it after trying. It has 10 shades. My shade is number 1, and I did go in store for a match. I also want to point out that in each of these trials, I am wearing the same skincare and the same makeup. I never rely on my complexion products as a replacement for my sunscreen. I always have a dedicated sunscreen before I go in with my makeup. The sunscreen that I used was a combination sunscreen by Dermatology, SPF 45. It's one of my absolute favorites. It would be really hard to get the SPF factor in this product and get enough on my face for it to really look normal. It would look like I had a mask on. So I always use a dedicated SPF and then come in with my makeup, and then I don't have to worry about how much I'm applying. I'm just applying the amount that looks lovely on the skin. I'll link my skincare routine and the makeup that I'm wearing down in the description and pin it in a comment. One thing I want to point out is it comes in a tinted version and it comes in an untinted version. The untinted version has a very similar name. It's called the Fenty Skin Hydra Vizor Invisible Moisturizer, but it's also an SPF 30. I did review that in my sunscreen video a few weeks ago if you want to check that out. It's one of my favorite new sunscreen finds. Back to the tinted formula, the call-out ingredients are niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, and aloe, so a fairly basic formula. It also has an SPF factor of 30 with zinc as its mineral sunscreen filter. The cost is $25 an ounce. Now let's take a look at the score on our 5 criteria. As far as texture, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's creamy, but it's definitely not weightless. Hydrating, it was super hydrating. I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was still hydrating after the 6 hours. Coverage, I gave it a 4 out of 5. There is some skin showing. It's definitely a your skin but better, but maybe a little bit more coverage than I would want in a tinted moisturizer. The finish, it evened my skin tone beautifully. It has a fresh, dewy, and not glowy look. I gave it a 5 out of 5. As far as wear, I gave it a 4 out of 5. At the 6 hour mark, there was just a little bit of breakup around my nose and around my chin area, but overall it wore really well. ColourPop's Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer is one I've been wanting to review for you guys forever, and I just haven't gotten around to it, but finally I had a spot for it in this review, and I'm really excited to share it with you. It's been on my radar for a while. It's super affordable, and it gets an Ulta rating of 4.3, and it's been around for about 4 or 5 years, so that's a really good rating for it to be still at above a 4-point star rating. The features are hyaluronic acid, coconut water, and it has 7 moisturizing humectants. It has 19 shades, and my shade was 3W, and it was the perfect match. It costs about $10 an ounce, and let's go through the ranking. As far as texture, I gave this a 5 out of 5. It is completely weightless. Hydrating, it gets a big fat 0. I was so disappointed in the amount of hydration this product provided, especially when you call it a tinted moisturizer. It wasn't moisturizing at all. About an hour after I wore this, my skin sort of looked very matte-like and a bit chalky. The coverage, super light, definitely my skin but better. A beautiful light coverage. I gave it a 5 out of 5 for coverage. Finish. Give it a 3 out of 5. It definitely evened my skin tone beautifully, but it didn't give me that fresh, dewy look. It gave me a very matte look to my skin. If you have oily skin, you may love this, but if you have dry skin, you're going to want to make sure you put a dedicated, quite heavy moisturizer on underneath this. The moisturizer that I used is a summer weight moisturizer, the one by Goop, so it definitely wasn't heavy enough to keep my skin hydrated throughout the day. As far as wear, I gave it a 5 out of 5. It wore beautifully. It didn't break up, it didn't smudge, it didn't budge. It basically looked like it did when I put it on about an hour after I put it on. The only problem that I had with this, it was just very drying. But if you have oily skin, I think you're going to love this tinted moisturizer. The Thomas Roth Water Drench Hyaluronic Cloud Sheer Tinted Moisturizer is a very interesting new launch. It's a tinted moisturizer that is a cream to gel formula. It gets a 4.8 star rating on the Sephora website, and 95% of people who try this recommend it. That is so high, I had to try it. It comes in universal tints. The call-out ingredients in this formula are a 30% hyaluronic acid complex, pentavitin, and Sun Boost ATB. I know, I didn't know what those were either. 30% hyaluronic acid complex, I get. Hyaluronic acid seems to be a common ingredient thread throughout all of these moisturizers, and it makes sense. It binds water, it hydrates the skin, and in a formula like this, it's not going to be drying out your skin. When it's in a formula like this, it's going to be hydrating and plumping to the skin. And 30% hyaluronic acid is a really high percentage. Next is pentavitin. I had to look that up. It's a saccharide isomerate, 100% plant extract that actually binds with our skin and hydrates our skin even after this product is washed off. That's why they're making the claim that this can give you 72 hours of hydration, because I was trying to figure out like how is this gonna hydrate my skin after I wash it off at night. But that's what they're claiming, that the pentavitin actually adds hydration after you wash off the formula. The Sun Boost ATB is a trademark ingredient, but you're going to be familiar because it's a complex of 3 ingredients that you've heard of before: argan oil, tocopherol acetate, and bisabolol. So basically, it's a soothing antioxidant complex that they say when you add it to an SPF formula, it boosts the SPF protection, which is similar to the concept of using a vitamin C before you put your sunscreen on to boost its effectiveness. Apparently, clinical studies are also showing that this combination boosts the effectiveness of your sunscreen. The cost of this is $33 an ounce. Let's see how it does in our ranking. The texture got a 5 out of 5. It's a really interesting texture. It's creamy, and then it turns into a watery gel as you spread it. Now, at first, I put on way too much of this. Tint is way too dark for me. I have to be very careful on how much I use. I would never be able to apply enough to get the SPF 45 protection because the tint is just too dark. But applying a little bit less on my second round, I was able to apply a nice thin layer. Now, as far as hydrating, it was pretty hydrating throughout the 6 hours, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 because it also felt a little bit tacky. Coverage, I gave it a 5 out of 5. It's a very sheer, your skin but better coverage. As far as finish, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It definitely evened my skin tone. It was a dewy look, but it took forever to dry down. So it remained a little bit more glowy than dewy, even after about an hour. It might be just a little bit too much of a glowy finish for some of you. As far as wear, I only gave it a 2 out of 5. I was so disappointed. It started to pill mid-afternoon. So I was really disappointed. It would be really hard to reapply sunscreen over it. It did pill. I tried it twice and it pilled each time. The less that I put on, it pilled less, but I was really surprised that this product pilled the way it did. Kosas has a new launch, their BB Burst. All the associates at Sephora really wanted me to try this. It's a tinted moisturizer, but it also says it's a BB cream. So I found that a little confusing because I always think of a BB cream as being kind of a blurring, a little bit heavier, a blurring formula. It also says it performs as a sunscreen, a tinted moisturizer, a foundation, and a concealer, which I found all very confusing. So I was very skeptical about how this would hold up under my criteria of a tinted moisturizer. I only wanted to review products that had 4 and above star rating, but as of today, it has a 3.8. It got a higher star rating a few weeks ago, but I think as more people are reviewing this, the star rating seems to be going down a bit. The call-out ingredients are, it's a gel cream with copper peptides, saccharide isomerate, and sodium PCA to smooth and hydrate and support the skin barrier. The sunscreen filter is zinc, and it offers a light coverage and a natural finish. It comes in 24 shades, which is really unusual for a tinted moisturizer, and my shade was 13 Light Cool. I usually run a little bit warm, but I got matched at Sephora, and this is my perfect match. So 13 Light Cool is my shade match. The cost is $38 an ounce. Let's see how the BB Burst holds up under our tinted moisturizer criteria. As far as texture, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's very creamy. I can feel it on my skin. There's nothing weightless about this formula at all. As far as hydrating, super hydrating. My face was hydrated throughout the day. Actually, it was a really nice hydrating formula. As far as coverage, I gave it a 2 out of 5. This is more like a light to medium foundation coverage. No skin peeking through, definitely not what I would expect of a tinted moisturizer. And finish, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It did even my skin tone, but it didn't give a fresh look. It didn't give a dewy look. It was actually quite glowy. And as far as wear, I gave it a 3 out of 5. At around the 3-hour mark, it started to break up, settle into my pores, and actually when I was holding my phone to my face, it would transfer to my phone. So as far as wear, it didn't wear well at all. Pure's 4-in-1 Tinted Moisturizer kept popping up during my research for this video as one of the top rated tinted moisturizers for summer, and I had never heard of this brand. So I decided I would check into it and do a review for you guys, and it actually has a 4.4 star rating on the Ulta website, which is pretty high for a product that's been out for about 4 or 5 years. And I started to get a little bit of FOMO. I had never seen this reviewed, and I was like, is our mature 50 skin community missing out on this? So I decided to pop it into this review. The callouts are that it's a 4-in-1, a moisturizer, a primer, a foundation, and an SPF, which had me a little concerned. But one of the ingredients in here is retinol. It also has hyaluronic acid, it gives a sheer dewy finish, and it has 13 shades, which isn't bad for a tinted moisturizer. My shade was light LG3, and you can tell this is a little bit too golden for my skin tone, but the next shade, lighter, was almost too pale. So I kind of had to go with this one, and we'll do our criteria rating, kind of ignoring the fact that this isn't a perfect shade match for me. As far as texture, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Is it weightless? No. It's creamy and you can feel it on the skin. As far as hydrating, it really wasn't all that hydrating. About hour 2, it kind of felt a little bit on the dry side. As far as coverage, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It does leave some skin showing, but it's a little more coverage than I would want in a tinted moisturizer. As far as finish, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It definitely evened out my skin tone. It was dewy. I wouldn't say it was fresh looking. It was a little bit more dewy and slightly glowy, but it could have been because the shade match wasn't great for my skin tone. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 because it did do even coverage and it did look fairly dewy. As far as wear, 4 out of 5. It lasted about 6 hours with very little breakup, just the typical breakup that you see around the mouth and the nose area, maybe a little bit of transfer later in the day, but it held up pretty well throughout the day.
Here's a quick review of all the tinted moisturizers we reviewed today.
Now for the big reveal. In at number 5 is the Kosas BB Burst. This got 16 out of 25 possible points. Number 4 is Pure's 4-in-1 with 17 out of 25 points. Number 3 is ColourPop Pretty Fresh with 18 out of 25 points. In at number 2 is the PTR Water Drench Hyaluronic Complex Sheer Tinted Moisturizer with 20 out of 25 points. And number 1 is the Hydra Vizor by Fenty Skin with 21 out of 25 possible points. This is definitely a great tinted moisturizer. Actually, I can't say any of them were a fail. They're all just for different purposes. If you want something super light and you have a slightly deeper skin tone than mine, you're going to love this. If you want something that's great for oily skin, the ColourPop Fresh is perfect. If you want something with a little bit more coverage, both the BB Burst and the Pure are going to be perfect for you. If you're looking for a true tinted moisturizer, you might be a little bit disappointed because these are a little bit on the heavy side. Now for your bonus tinted moisturizer review, I'm going to share with you UBeauty's Super Tinted Hydrator. And as I go through this, you're going to realize why they put this in a bonus section. It gets a 4.3 star rating on the UBeauty website. It has several interesting call-out ingredients: purified oat extract, peptides, and shea butter, and 4 emollient oils. But one of the most interesting things about this formula is their capsule technology. Now, capsule technology in skincare isn't new. We're most familiar with that in retinol products, where they package retinol in these vesicles or capsules, and the retinol is released over time. But in this particular formula, they have a proprietary siren capsule where they put all the active ingredients in the vesicles and claim that the humectants release over time to continue to hydrate your skin well after you remove the product. So again, one of these longevity type products similar to the Pentavidin in the PTR formula. So I think it's really interesting that the skincare is getting so high tech, but is it actually improving the performance of the products? Let's see. This comes in 10 shades. Mine was shade 2, and the cost is a whopping $108 per ounce. That's why I put it in the bonus. It's not a luxury product. It's a luxury product. So I thought it would be interesting to review this to see how it performed against more reasonably priced tinted moisturizers. So let's go through our criteria and see how it performed. As far as texture, it got a 3 out of 5. It definitely wasn't weightless. The second ingredient is squalane, which is an emollient oil. I wasn't surprised that this didn't have that light, weightless feel that we expect from a tinted moisturizer. As far as hydrating, I gave it a 4 out of 5. My skin wasn't quite as moisturized as it was when I first put it on at the end of the day, but it did feel very moisturized. And I have a feeling it's because of the emollient oils helping to prevent transepidermal water loss from all of my hydrating skincare and probably some of the hydrating ingredients in the formula itself. As far as coverage, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It does leave some skin peeking through, but it gave a little bit more coverage than I would probably want from a tinted moisturizer. As far as finish, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It definitely did a great job at evening out my skin tone. My skin looked dewy, but it might be just a little bit too glowy, probably again because of those emollient oils. As far as wear, I gave this a 5 out of 5. It lasted the 6 hours that I expected it to with little to no breakup. So the total score for the UBeauty Super Tinted Hydrator was 20 out of 25. It tied in second place with the PTR. Finding that perfect tinted moisturizer for your summer makeup wardrobe can be really tricky. I hope my reviews have been helpful. Now don't forget to run over to Tamara's channel and check out her reviews. That's where I'm headed next. I will link her video right in the description and right in the pinned comment, so you can head over to there next. Tell her I said hello. Thanks very much for watching and wishing you all a skintastic day.